Hey everyone, welcome back to AI Insights. It's your host Fleur Prince together here with Granya.
Hi.
And today our episode is going to cover the AI news of the week, what has happened, and for you guys to be all up to date because a lot actually has happened. I mean, what did we have? We had DeepSeek being released, Alibaba, who came out with their Quen 2.5 model.
hmm
It's just madness right now. So the agenda for today is going to be we're going to talk about SoftBank's potential of 25 billion investment in OpenAI, DeepSeek's disruption of the AI industry, like I said, Alibaba's new model that came out, Red AI's 16 million funding for healthcare innovation, and surprisingly, the Vatican, who is bringing in ethical guidelines for AI.
Yeah, pretty unexpected one.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, I'd love to start off with discussing SoftBank's negotiations to become OpenAI's largest financial backer. I mean, they're highlighting the competitive AI landscape and implications for global AI infrastructure. I was very surprised that SoftBank actually proposed this.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's kind of it's following with global trends though, I think, especially if we look towards like the recent US election and all the 500 billion investment there. I think it makes a lot of sense that there's going to be kind of this increased investment. I mean, like if you look towards the business world, it's all like if it's not AI, then it's like quantum computing or some other form of like technological innovation. So for me, this kind of lines up.
Yeah, but I wonder if this also has to do with also the release of DeepSeek the past week,
Oh
because
yeah.
it's because I know SoftBank and OpenAI are like both involved in like the Stargate initiative that was set up by US President Donald Trump.
Uh-huh.
I mean, we know that the idea is to invest 500 billion into AI infrastructure in the United States.
hmm
But I'm wondering, well, one thing I'm wondering, where does the 500 billion come from? But I
Yeah.
guess we got an answer to the question, at least where 25 is coming from, and that's from SoftBank. Do
Well, so,
you?
so
Oh,
soft
sorry.
so SoftBank is investing like as a part of Donald Trump's 500 billion plan. So this is like one avenue of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, so there's kind of just like this huge like commitment and just double down from the US on AI infrastructure. And it's kind of interesting because, we already, at least in the US and Europe, not so much, in my opinion, anyways, but in the
Hmm.
US, we already have this pretty comprehensive AI infrastructure. I mean, like law firms are all using it, it just has like a baseline and like
Hmm.
negotiable. And then on top of that, like if you walk around, say, like LA, then you see billboards advertising like hire AI or like use AI as opposed to real workers. Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah, but what also struck me as interesting is so I don't know if you know, but SoftBank is a Japanese is from Japan actually.
Yeah.
Which I find very interesting because they are going to be providing the funding for OpenAI to be able to for them to scale very quickly, even though so it's not a US company that's actually investing in them, but it's a Japanese one.
Oh, okay.
At least from what my research, what I can find.
hmm
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so kind of then it's more of a global trend of investment. So that's really interesting. I was listening to a podcast the other day on like global finances and
Hmm.
I was working on like this pitch deck. And it was for skincare actually, like skincare trends. And there's all these different ways that like AI is now being used in like even skincare. For example, like being able to make a more environmentally friendly product, etc. Like it's just
Hmm.
kind of it's in all these different industries globally, and it's just kind of surprising to see how fast the acquisition has been. So it's my
Yeah, I
thought.
actually saw last week the announcement from IBM and L'Oreal actually start working together on making AI for the makeup brand.
Oh, really?
So,
I actually didn't see that.
yeah,
IBM.
yeah, IBM and L'Oreal. So, because the idea is for them to work together to be able to check, how do you say it? So the idea that they have is that they use the AI algorithm to make the makeup formulas, but in a way that is not that they don't have to test it on animals anymore to see if there's any like
Whoa.
allergic reaction, for example.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, I find it very interesting for them to move for AI to be used to that. I didn't actually think about it at all that AI can be used to synthesize if a human is allergic to certain makeup products.
Yeah, and like on that tangent, it would be really interesting to see kind of like a dissection of where this money is going towards, because we're hearing all these big numbers, but we're not like getting like a matchup of where the numbers are going to be, exactly what is going to be paid for.
No, exactly. So it would be interesting because I know OpenAI, it started as originally as a nonprofit, for example, if they are going to be open about and transparent what they do with the money that's being invested in them.
Oh yeah, they're actually converting to a for-profit system right now. There's like this huge legal battle going on because Facebook was one of their biggest investors, and as they transition to a for-profit model, it's kind of a question of like how much would Facebook be paid out in that process.
Is for them to see how much money they can get back out of it because of
Yeah.
it. Oh, okay. I did not know that was going on. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, it's interesting, but it makes sense. I mean, it was bound to happen. I think it's more of an anomaly, the fact that they, had a for-profit model even to begin with. I think that was more of like the bigger question. And I mean, that's why it's become such a contentious issue in finance, is because it's almost unprecedented, like an entity of this, gravity and like this much money associated with a shift from for-profit to sorry. Yeah,
No worries. Sorry?
yeah, no, just the shift is pretty unprecedented.
Following up on that, did you also see, well, we already talked about this last week, but DeepSeek disrupting the AI industry, we're still seeing the after effects of it.
Yeah, that's like all I've seen on my LinkedIn feed and all those feeds for ever since it happened.
Yeah, I love to see like so many people, also those who are not AI experts, are like recommending for people to check out DeepSeek to try it out. And I'm like, okay, I love how enthusiastic everybody is. But on a deeper level, what does it actually mean for the West when it comes to the AI competition?
Well, what I've heard, the biggest thing that I've heard with regards to people saying to try it out and everything is that it's amazing and like a better model than ChatGPT itself. I think that the transparency aspect will be really transformative. I forget which model it was, but I was using some sort of AI model recently, and then I saw like a transparency or like a reasoning tab. I didn't click on it, but like it was available, and I just thought, oh, like that must be because of DeepSeek. And it's good that like the monopoly on AI that kind of derives from OpenAI is not severe enough to the point where competition is excluded, because this is like a real and genuine competitor for OpenAI and all its derivatives and a lot of its companions in the market.
Yeah, and the interesting also is that the how do you call it, the VR model, like V3 models, apologies, was actually only trained on 2000 NVIDIA H100 chip versus the 16,000 or so integrated circuits competing models needed for training, because it only took them like 55 days and under 5.6 million to create this model.
Yeah, which is crazy. And then as a result of that, NVIDIA's stock price has plummeted, like completely plummeted, and it hasn't recovered yet.
No, I saw it happening all like live on like the trading screen. You could like just see the big dive that it took, and I was like, oh my goodness.
I know, and it really it like kind of like shook up the market a lot. And I think it's, raising questions of, how can we make AI more efficient instead of just like, oh, like, because we had an episode where we discussed the amount of water that is used, like cool data centers, the amount of energy and like negatives of current like AI production. These kind of developments, DeepSeek and etc., demonstrate that, there's other possibilities, and that it doesn't have to be so arduous of a process or so energy consuming. So I think it's a really good sign. And again, it's going to push the market in that direction. And I think I really saw that with the introduction of transparency and reasoning in different AI applications.
Yeah, and what I also see is that we don't have to per se invest in expensive hardware because that's the most of the reasons why there were these huge investments because we were convinced that we need expensive new sort of AI chips to make sure that all these models will be running on optimal level. But they showed that's actually not necessary at all.
Uh-huh.
Also, what I also found interesting is that you can actually see Mark Zuckerberg had Meta set up labs to research DeepSeek.
No
And
way.
also these are 4 labs that he has created that have their sole mission to to find out more about DeepSeek and the model itself and how they can even recreate it. Also, Von Vera of Hugging Face is working actually on a project to fully reproduce DeepSeek R1 as well, and including its data and training pipelines. I just saw it
Wow.
come by on my LinkedIn. I was like, oh my God, wait, what? They're actually doing that?
Yeah. No, but it makes complete sense and it came entirely out of left field. And it's, it's exciting that the market is new enough and, the discoveries are happening fast enough that this sort of like, upending event can even occur. But yeah, really interesting. And I think that the DeepSeek model genuinely is better. Like I know that there's a lot of, hype around it and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
probably not warranted, but I do think it's the better model. And as AI becomes more and more expensive and this model just undercuts everything else, yeah, I just think it's going to be a really good thing for the industry.
Though I did also see something else pop up on my LinkedIn, and that's that in the US, they're actually looking into banning DeepSeek. Even if you download it, that you can get up to 20 years of prison, which I was like, wait, wait, how are they so quick?
Yeah, wow, that's immediate. I mean, we're shifting goalposts here. We went from TikTok to DeepSeek. Another aspect of that I was kind of interested in is so we have all these, kind of facilities set up to recreate, to understand, to examine DeepSeek. There's also
Mm-hmm.
of, attacks and red teaming and hacking on DeepSeek. The servers actually, right after it went viral, went down internationally due to the amount of, I think it was DDoS attacks. Um,
Yeah, I read
so
about that. They immediately got hacked as soon as they put it live.
yeah, so that's like a really fascinating aspect also of these kind of markets. Like it doesn't function, like as it would in a traditional economy where like, say I like produce a shirt and then like
Mm-hmm.
and then somebody else produces a cheaper, better shirt, etc. No, like these things can be reproduced, they can be, attacked, they can be brought down in like really interesting ways. So watching that dynamic unfold, I think will be especially interesting. And really given like the new kind of context of like cyber warfare and like cyber
Mm-hmm.
interaction between countries, I think it'll be pretty compelling to see how that plays out.
Yeah, and also with this is I think also the reason why a lot of people are interested is because this is open source. So it's not like hidden or anything. Like there's no secret how the model works. It's
Yeah.
open and public and all people can get access to it. I think that's what's how do you say I'm not trying to be political or anything, but I think that can scare people because this shows just the what China is capable also of when it comes to their technology. Even though it was originally trained on OpenAI's API
Hmm.
when they were creating this, and now Mark Zuckerberg cries about how could they do this, and I was like, yeah, but you guys, your thing is also open source.
Yeah.
Like sooner or later, someone was going to come up with something better. The question is, are in 10 years, who will remain? Because we saw the same thing when it came to Microsoft, Google, and other startups when they started. It was a massive battlefield just to gain dominance. And now Google and Microsoft are the biggest players left.
Hmm.
Though
Yeah.
Linux is actually making a comeback.
Okay.
I'm curious to see how that one actually will go because they're also bringing in their own software. And from what I heard in the gaming community, they have some interesting potential.
Cool. That's not something I knew about, actually. I've barely heard of Linux. Linux?
Yeah, Linux, you should look into it. It's a new kind of software so that you're not just don't have to decide between like Apple iOS or Android.
Hmm.
But Linux is actually its own software. I will send you the link after the podcast so you can also look into it. It's pretty cool.
Cool. All right, exciting. Yeah,
Anyways,
I know that Apple was trying to come up with their own AI as well. Although the most recent thing I've seen from them is the VR headset that they tried to launch,
mhm.
failed. I think it's too soon for that type of product, like a complete VR. Like even if we have the technology to create it, I don't think that the demand, especially like the societal demand, is high enough.
No, I bought I will be honest, bought the cheaper version, which is the Metaverse VR glasses, the
Hmm.
third version. But I actually ended up returning it because
Really?
it was not what I expected when it came to. I had hoped that there was more, but as I'd been walking around in it for a month, and it was pretty much empty, to be honest. Like there's no real interaction between the players. The games are kind of fun, but not that I would say like I'm super interested.
Hmm.
So that was kind of a downer. So I was like I went back to Coolblue and I was like, I'd like to return it and have my money back.
Yeah, so fair. But it's meant to like do more. It's meant to like you're able to like watch movies and stuff like that, right? Or no?
Yeah, that's also so you can add Netflix and everything. Though surprisingly, not all apps are available, so I couldn't like get access to like PlayStation, to the PS app, so to connect it with it, or Disney Plus was also not an option when I tried it.
Yeah.
Those kind of things because they were not in the Meta App Store, so it was like, eh. Then it kind of like loses its function for me, and it's pretty heavy also on your face.
Oh, geez. Yeah, okay. Well, sounds like they just had like a bad product then.
Yeah, I think I'm very sure this could have potential, but it would have to be just very light and not like an entire second computer on your face.
Yeah, no, seriously. I'm surprised that Apple would launch a product that is, not to that standard because their whole model is, like their products being really easy to use and accessible and
Mhm.
yeah, so that's interesting.
I understand. Oh, by the way, when we were talking earlier about DeepSeek, but another Chinese company actually came up with something else, which is
Okay.
Alibaba's Quen 2.5 model, which actually is surpassing DeepSeek.
Yeah, interesting. Well, it's just like a huge race, isn't it? Especially with everything being open source.
Yeah, exactly. But what I found interesting was that this is actually like it was it launched a week after DeepSeek. Well, DeepSeek came out like a few months ago,
Really?
officially. Well, most people were already aware in the AI industry that it was coming,
Hmm.
but no one had expected it to be so efficient.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it'd be interesting to see like what Chinese news sources are kind of reporting on because it seems like there's so much innovation coming out of China and like these coders and people driving the innovation are like really deeply connected. So it's I mean, I wonder what will kind of happen next to that regard.
Well, what's also interesting about Quen is that it's almost comes across the board like as GPT 4.0, DeepSeek 3, and Llama.
Really?
Um, yeah, but the cloud units it said in an announcement that on WeChat that this is their one of the most advanced open source AI models right now.
Wow, interesting.
And for me, like I know Alibaba as like same as Shein and like Wish.com. Like that's where I
Really?
know them from. So for them to come out with their own OpenAI model was weird but interesting at the same time because also the cloud units, the price that they announced like cuts like 97% on the range of models.
Wow, okay. I actually didn't even know that Alibaba was like a an e-commerce platform.
Apparently not anymore. They're
Cool.
actually a tech. They describe themselves as a tech company, with that being one of their businesses.
Okay, wow. Yeah, pretty effective business. I mean, yeah, that's so unexpected. Like, I wonder like how many people they have on their team even that, contributed to the creation of this.
Yeah, and also the weird thing, well, the cool thing with them is that they actually have the people available because of the company like with thousands of employees. While
Yeah.
DeepSeek was more like a research lab, so that was mostly like graduates and doctorate students
Uh-huh.
working together.
All right. Interesting.
So pretty much, if I guess if you have enough funding, you could create your own OpenAI model, even if you're Alibaba.
There you go. Yeah, especially because it's open source and everything.
Yeah, and that also amazed me because like when I grew up, I was always like raised like if like China was not the place to go if you want freedom.
Oh, really?
But for them to bring these kind of things out, kind of, I don't know, it kind of looks at me like they're shifting, like the mindset's shifting of the people as well. Um, but
Mhm.
that also remains to be seen.
Yeah, like you think that the global kind of perception of China shifts as they come out with like these new technologies?
Yeah, but they also want to join in on the competition.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wonder if any other countries will kind of produce models. I mean, notably, I don't think Europe has, kind of contributed much innovation with to this regard.
Not on this level, though. We do have Hugging Face, and there's also Mistral.
Oh yeah, I remember
But I
Miss.
think those are the two biggest AI companies, I would say, right now. Oh, wait, there's also this Dutch company that's called Accelera, which makes like the AI chips.
Mhm.
Who's like on the same level of competition as NVIDIA.
Oh yeah, you were discussing that company. What do you think are the barriers between them and like kind of the global market? Like, what do you think kind of prevents them from, taking over Nvidia in Dutch markets or global markets?
I would say in their case, well, they're now going from startup to scale up, so I do know they're getting closer. Also because they got a huge amount of funding last year. I think for them the barrier right now is that they need the facilities to be able to produce those chips.
Really? Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
so because for example, now one of the biggest companies in the Netherlands, for example, is ASML. They are the ones who build the machines that make the chips. That's all they do. That's what their main source of income is. But for example, with a company like this, they need like the warehouse, the place where they can pretty much set up factory, is
Mhm.
what I would say. And I know the thing in the Netherlands, why it's hard if you want to like set up a factory is that you have to, there's this huge amount of laws that you have to follow when it comes to like sustainability, make sure that the company is not destroying the environment, that it doesn't influence the people that live around it. Because the
Mhm.
Netherlands is pretty small.
Yeah,
Um,
and also very like I think it's very environmentally conscious in the way that they wouldn't allow, like innovation that's predicated on some sort of environmental collapse or degradation.
Yeah, and the thing with building chips is that you need precious resources for that. And I know you don't per se have the what you need. So, for example, like I think you need like gold, iron, lithium. Uh, okay, this is me just guessing, by the way. Also for our listeners, I don't know how to make AI chips,
Pretty complicated ingredient list.
but I know the Netherlands is like moving away from bringing in products that are not ethical.
Mhm.
So we're trying like to move away so don't buy like gold from the Congos anymore.
Yeah. No, that's
And
been a huge topic of discussion. Less so in America. I think America prioritizes that sort of like ethical production less, but it's definitely been discussed a lot around me with regards to divesting from, unethical mining.
I think that's also for me that's also a thing that I see that there's a question between when it comes between being ethical and wanting to be first. And I'd
Hmm.
rather choose the ethical side, so make sure that's not I'd rather have the environment be protected than be first. But
Hmm.
if you want to have like skin in the game, you do want to be first. So the question is, what choice should we make in that regard?
Yeah.
And I think that's especially something that a lot of people are now asking themselves in Europe. Should we focus on joining this still focus on joining this competition, or should we shift our attention to something else in AI that we can be the I don't want to say the first one in, but the leader. And
Hmm.
right
Yeah.
now we have the AI Act, but I don't think
Yeah.
you want to be the first person in that one.
Yeah. Well, that's true actually. Europe does lead with like ethical production. They set like benchmarks for the rest of the world. And that's a pretty like key role, I feel like, even if it's not one that translates to huge financial dividends, it kind of does in a way because it opens up like this entire new market of compliance and, I don't know, new regulations. So it creates like traction and like jobs and, increases finances in a certain way. But on the topic of finances, another point of funding was that Rad AI invested 60 million for healthcare innovation to enhance radiology. So
Yeah, like what was that all about? When I saw that, I was like, wait, why? When Red AI came to this, I was like, okay, why would they invest so much money into it?
I think it's just kind of, my mom actually said this to me that radiologists would be one of the first jobs to go in the AI revolution. And she said that she would rather have the computer read the results than a person. And I kind of agree with that. I mean, it's a question of making sure that AI is accurate and that, traditional biases in medicine are not exposed to whatever model they create and then apply to the healthcare system.
Yeah, and I think also what happens, from what I understand, also from people I talk to who work in hospitals, it's always super busy and you have to move so quickly that often a lot of notes get lost in translation or
Oh,
that they cannot read the
yeah.
handwriting.
There's a lot of potential for human error.
Yes, I think with this investment, I think they could even empower physicians to become even more efficient.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think so. I think it opens the door for maybe like a lot of like increased accuracy and then, just a lot faster of a turnaround. And that makes a huge, huge, huge difference in healthcare. Again, it's just so fascinating to see like how it kind of affects all of these different sectors from makeup with this IBM and L'Oreal launch to radiology and healthcare and just this sheer staggering amount of finances attributed to each sector.
Yeah, and what Red AI actually does, the LLMs that they train, actually make sure that the radiologists, their workload reduces, they become less fatigued and burned out. So for me, that looks like a worthwhile investment. Because I know burnout sucks.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, so that's really interesting. I wonder what other kind of aspects of healthcare will be transformed by AI.
Yeah, otherwise, maybe we should dive into that sometime with one of our guests.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I'll keep my eye out to see if I can find someone.
Mhm.
Um, Also, for our final point, actually, is the Vatican.
Yeah.
Sorry. By the way, anyone who listens, you might not know, but I'm Roman Catholic. So I keep an eye out on the Vatican, even though I'm in AI and you're supposed to be like a logical person. But
I am raised Irish Catholic, so
okay, yay!
Catholic with another nationality put on top of it.
But so the Vatican actually came out with AI ethics guidelines. Yeah, I was just stunned when I read it. I was like, wait, what's happening?
Yeah, and I haven't heard necessarily of, yeah, interesting. I haven't heard necessarily of like a church, giving, like maybe they did something like this for the innovation of the internet. It'd be interesting to see like the reasons behind their decision to issue ethical guidelines and why they felt it was necessary.
So I'm reading through it now. So this was the document I found in it. So this came out the 28th of January
Mhm.
this year. It's titled the Antica es Nova,
Uh-huh.
and it highlights the potential risks and benefits of AI and encourages responsible development and use. And the thing that I found interesting that this goes over various sectors. So they actually covered like warfare, healthcare, education, the stress of importance of human agency in directing AI's application. And this is all done by Pope Francis stance. I was like, okay,
Really?
yeah,
I love that. Okay, well, I mean, I'm in support. I think any sort of, direction towards guidelines is a good direction.
well, I like the fact that they are actually moving more toward the 21st century because to me, they always really felt like it was pretty, like, how do you call it, like old fashioned.
Oh,
Most
yeah.
of their stances, too, which actually led me to be like, okay, maybe I don't want to be associated with them per se, but this kind of gives me hope that maybe they are seeing the light.
Yeah, that there would be kind of, yeah. Well, it's interesting to see them engage with contemporary issues. It's a bit rare. And then I think recently, what pope was it that came out? Hold on.
It might be the same Francis. It might be Pope Francis as
Yeah,
well.
probably, but came out in support of gay couples. That was in 2023.
I think it was him too. I don't think he changed. I don't think the Pope changed those now.
Oh yeah, Pope Francis, yeah, signaled openness to blessings for gay couples as long as they didn't misrepresent the Catholic view of marriage. So there you go. Yeah, I mean, they're definitely moving towards, I mean, I think that would be kind of unheard of, like a decade ago. So it's interesting and good to see that they're kind of, evolving.
I'm wondering if the next step would be that they set up their own AI lab.
Oh, geez, no. No, I don't think so. I think that they're focused on other things, but that would
I
be
mean,
fun.
I at least from the last time I went to Vatican City, it looks like they would have the money to fund it.
Yeah, I'd say.
I'm just wondering what they would try to create. That's the only thing that I'm wondering. Like, what would the Vatican want with an AI lab? Maybe an idea for them.
I thought about that. Yeah, maybe they would start putting it into the Bible app or something. Although that's like a Christian service. I think
I
there is.
mean,
Go
I
on.
do. Oh no, I wanted to say I do know that there are apps. For example, there was this one actor. God, what was his name again? He played an Instant Family.
Mhm.
What was his name? It's pretty not well. Let me look what the main actor was of this guy, because he's part Mark Wahlberg. So this was this app that kept passing by. It's called Halo
Mhm.
that teaches you how to pray. Again,
Wow, interesting.
I saw it come by. I was like, wait, they're moving into the 21st.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. Yeah, I don't often hear about like this side of kind of innovations or like I hadn't heard they had issued declarations or guidelines at all, really. So I wonder if they'd be followed or not that if they would be followed, but I wonder if, there's because the EU AI Act had like such like a transformative impact. I wonder if it was like referenced in any board meetings that there were these new standards. Hopefully, because they seem like pretty solid recommendations.
Well, I know Vatican City is like its own country.
Hmm.
I don't know if they're part of the European Union, to be honest.
Yeah, me neither. Not sure.
I guess I would assume that they too would have to, because they're technically they are an organization and a company. So I guess they have to look into that as well. The priests and nuns that work for them,
Hmm.
and other people like the guard and stuff, how they are using AI, because I'm sure that they all as well have tried it out.
Hmm.
Because I do know they have smartphones.
Yeah, they definitely do. Nobody
You
does
could,
it.
exactly. So I think that's maybe was one of the triggers for them to also start looking like, hey, maybe we should put up some guidelines like how people should start using this.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But a lot of assumptions. But this was one of the things that I just wanted our listeners to know, that it's not just companies and countries that are looking in, but also religions now are coming out with their own AI guidelines.
Yeah,
Showing the huge
there
impact AI is having.
yeah, seriously. And there you go.
Anyways, though, I think we have talked actually about the biggest things that happened this week in AI.
Hmm.
So I will summarize it again for everybody. So we talked about SoftBank's potential of 25 billion investment in OpenAI, DeepSeek's disruption of the industry, Alibaba, who actually came out with a new model called Quen 2.5 that is actually surpassing DeepSeek, Reddit 60 million funding for healthcare innovation, and the Vatican's ethical guidelines for AI.
And there you go.
So everyone, thanks so much for listening. Hope this helped you this week to catch up what has been happening in AI, and we will see you again next week. So thanks again, and see you next time.